Hi, everybody. We are currently in the midst of doing our New Year's stream. This is actually taking place the day before New Year's.
Eve before New Year's.
It's New Year's Eve, which is almost Evie. It almost says Evie, isn't it? New Year's Eve.
Kepler did not like that.
I'm sorry. My apologies. So we do a Q&A annually every year, and this is that time. So folks have been submitting questions. We're going to choose a few and then answer them. That's it. That's the entire thing. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. All right, so let's get started with some of these. So first one is from Axel the King of Fire 08, who says, "Happy New Year, you two. Question from Al. I am a first-time Techo user.
Awesome.
Got a cousin, and I was wondering if you have any tips. So what's your general tips for folks that are going to be doing some journaling?
So Cousin's really cool because it has a monthly, a weekly, and a daily spread in it.
So you can kind of choose how to use it.
Well, it's all in there together. So
Yeah.
maybe you want to use the dailies for journaling and the weeklies for planning and the monthlies for appointment setting or whatever, or meal planning. That would be great.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to use them differently. So like sometimes I look at people's spreads online and I'm like, oh, they're so cool. Look at all these colors and stickers and everything they've done. And I think it's more important to have it functional. So trying to figure out a system that works for you, and it may take a little bit of trial and error, especially if you're a brand new user to doing any sort of planning, to figure out what works for you to be able to remember to work in it and use it.
I mean, how is it that you use your...
Well, I keep 3.
Yeah, well, you have 3 different ones, but that's just as a general, like, a quick overview of like how it is that you keep your
I have
Techos.
a 5-year Techo, which is 5 years together in one book, and I use that as a journal. I'm doing day free this year as my daily planner.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the regular daily planner, but it's not dated.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of use notes in it or whatever I want to do. Maybe just free think and write thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I have a week's planner, which I use for weekly planning. Like, oh, I'm going to get these things done on Monday, and I write them out. Or here is my to-do list for the week.
I don't do any journaling.
Yeah.
Although I do keep a daily vlog, and it's kind of like a really complicated journal in a way.
Mm-hmm. And people who do like Bujo, like bullet journaling, like it's similar. Techo's just a brand of planner.
Yeah. And there's a lot of folks that really like. But if you're doing any sort of journaling, I think that's helpful. Here's a good one. This is from Soul's Wind. It says, "This year I learned about TGA and costochondritis, probably some other terms from you. Just wondering, how are those conditions now? Wish you and family and friends good health in the coming year." So yeah, it has been a long year because this year was wrought with health concerns. Started out with TGA. My second bout of TGA, which is a form of short-lived amnesia, and that was fun. But I haven't had any other issues since then. Like, I've had 2 very distinct TGA episodes. They were 2 years apart, and I haven't had any since I had it at the very, very, very beginning of this year in January.
And based on the medical journals and the...
Yeah, statistically, I should never have it again.
Yeah.
But, the big concern was if it was seizure-related, because that changes the acronyms, and it's not technically TGA then. But they tested me for that, and I didn't. So it sounds very much like that's what I had is TGA, and I probably won't have it again. I think one of the interesting things is, I haven't talked about this before, is that there's a very specific feeling when the TGA episode is about to happen, and I have experienced that feeling since January. And when I experience that feeling it's very hard to explain, it's very hard for me to explain exactly what this is like, but it's kind of like, for anyone who experiences vertigo, and like right before you get a vertigo episode, there's this feeling of like, this is kind of what this has happened. Like, this is occurring. That feeling is actually quite similar to TGA. There's a feeling of like uneasiness and dizziness. And there's been a few times where and because I also have vertigo, there's been a few times where I have had like the very start of vertigo, and my brain is like, is this TGA? And very quickly, I am like grasping for
Things to ground yourself.
yes. It's a really weird thing. It probably happens every 2 to 3 months. I'll have an episode where like there's a brief worry where my brain is like, whoa, is this TGA? Think strongly at this moment in time what the last hour of your life was like. And then I'm like grounding myself in reality. I'm like, okay, I did this. And then I'm like holding on to those thoughts. And I'm holding on to them as I ride through that feeling. And then I still have the thoughts. And I'm like, okay, I'm not experiencing amnesia. That was not TGA. We're good. And then I might be a little dizzy. I'm like, it was kind of a little bit of vertigo, though. So don't fall over. So, yeah, that's been interesting. As far as the costochondritis, that went away mostly. And then it has come back in the last month because I'm exercising. And that sort of sucks. It's not bothering me to the point that it had been.
Yeah.
But also, like, I am going to keep exercising. I'm going to do that. So, Mount and I've talked a little bit about it, and we have a theory that, you know, if I can keep going and if I can maybe kind of build up some chest muscle, that I may be able to prevent the costochondritis from being as severe as it has been.
You just have to take it slow.
But I have to take it slow, and I have been. It's been flared up like a little bit, but mostly it's going well. Yeah, those are good questions, and otherwise, you know, I've been good, pretty good.
I read that as push pop.
Brandon said, maybe you can make push-up pals with your friends in town. That's actually, I've done a little, I was getting some Costo stuff whenever I was doing, just doing walks, but I've also started to do a little bit of some other exercises too. Like I did some core training.
Yeah.
And after I had done that was when my chest was like,
yeah,
never do this again, which I will.
I think you should just get some weights a little bit and maybe do like a...
Yeah, I have to be really careful about how I proceed, but it hasn't been anywhere near as bad as it was earlier in the year. Earlier in the year was really bad. We got one from Fossix. Fossix Stream says, COVID has disrupted leisure travel for the past few years, but are there any thoughts/plans on travel for fun for 2023?
I mean, there's places that we want to go and be like, oh, this would be really cool, but we don't have anything planned. Yeah,
as of right now, there are no plans.
It's difficult with Kepler, especially, you know, because your dad being home would be able to just come over anytime.
Yeah, it is one of the difficulties of, you know, having moved.
Speaking of which, let me move my leg, bud.
We have people here to watch him, but also if we're doing anything that involves all the other people, then that kind of becomes an impossibility. Yeah. For me, though, 2022 had so much... I can call it... It was moving, right? It was moving in that feeling of, like, not being stationary, that I feel very strongly that the first few months of 2023 will be... I will be very happy to stay home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
same.
And, like, to an extent, I've been home. Yeah. I've been home for 6 months, but... I've been putting stuff away and I've been trying to get things, and there's still more to do. And because of that, I'm really interested in just chilling for a few months. Now, is there stuff coming up? I mean, yeah, I can't tell you when the date is, stupidly, but Coliseum is coming up sooner than you think. So because of that, like I will be doing that, you know, spoilers, Coliseum is not occurring in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we'll be traveling for that. But that's the only thing.
Yeah. Date's going to drop next week.
Only thing. Isn't it tomorrow or is it next week?
Next week. Megfest is
soon.
next week.
They'll tell you the date soon. And then you'll know. This is a good one. This is from D-Tran. Favorite moment with Hayley and Alex this year?
Christmas party was fun. Because Hayley put a lot of thought and effort into it with, like, the movie and the craft and, like, the food and...
I'm really tempted to say Quarry because just almost solely because of Dylan Style, dear Lord.
Yeah, Dylan Style was good.
I mean, getting a chance to go through a game like that on stream meant a lot to me. It meant a lot because Alex and Hayley are best friends, and it's wonderful to play games with them. But then also, like, we've never had a streaming setup where, like, we can have 4 people on a couch and play through...
Tortilbo.
You know, play through games, like... that's great. Like, I'm super excited about that. But I think, actually, I'm going to say that my favorite moment with Hayley and Alex this year was in April. When we saw them for the first time in years.
When we drove to Birmingham?
When we drove to Birmingham. We had not seen Hayley and Alex in years. And it almost feels foreign because now they live here and we're very close by and we see them multiple times a week. And to go, and like that's how our relationship always was that we were really close to spend a lot of time together. So to go from that to just dropping off and like not seeing folks for literal years.
Yeah.
To then like, oh my God, we're here. We haven't seen you in years. Like that was actually probably my favorite thing. That meant a lot. And I was happy about that. Ooh, also, yeah, Dark Shadow says Extra Life. Maybe Extra Life. The reveal of Snaby. The reveal of Snaby was really... That was a good one, too. There's been a lot of good ones. There's been a whole lot of good ones, so I'm excited about that. We got one from CopyPixel. What's one surprising thing about North Carolina that is different than South Carolina? Not a lot. I mean,
there's little differences that you start to learn, like how the DMV works here.
Yeah, yeah. Every state is a different country. You know. Yeah, no mustard. No mustard barbecue. Yeah. I mean, like culturally, South Carolina and North Carolina are not like super, super different.
Yeah, especially where we moved from was basically on the border.
Yeah,
because like, the county was
Carolina is all very very similar.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big difference because we were in a beach town.
Yeah, a beach tourist town.
That's very different. Like going from a tourist beach town to
a city.
Is different. And like the big thing for me that took a lot of adjustment, and I'm still adjusting to it. And I think I complained about this like within the first week or two of living here. It's the trees.
It's the city of oaks. Oak City.
I'm very used to being able to drive and just there's not a lot of trees around, so like
there's
you can
advertisements for tourists.
Yes, it's tourism, right? And I'm very used to that because what happens is you can drive and you just, if something new opens, because you can see it.
Yeah.
And that is not how it is here. Like, everything is obscured by, like, huge shopping centers obscured by trees. So if you're driving on the road, you don't even know that they're there. So, like, I still don't love that, actually. I don't have a problem with, like, trees, but because I can't organically learn about anything, I don't love that. Like, you have to know something exists before you go to it. And, like, I don't know. I could do without that. Things I hate. Christmas and trees.
Steven
but most of all,
slur.
Christmas trees. It's fine. This is also a good one. King Karan says, what would you say is your favorite lazy meal when you want to make something but not like a frozen meal, etc.?
Super brekkie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, breakfast burritos, maybe.
You rolling?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to be super, super lazy and just do a frozen thing, we do...
But if we're not doing a frozen meal.
We'll do pizzas, they're mostly like vegetable pizzas.
Frozen pizza.
But if we're not doing something frozen, but it's still kind of in the like the lazy zone, breakfast burritos are mostly. And also they're delicious. It just sucks because sometimes we have a hard time I don't know if anyone else like feels this way. We sometimes have a hard time finding hash brown patties.
I know. Oh, I didn't look today. I meant to look.
Like tater tots, easy to find. Hash browns, easy to find. Shredded hash browns, whatever. Hash brown patties? Why are they so hard to find?
And they're so good.
They're so good.
They're way better.
They're the most important reason to go to a McDonald's in the morning. Don't even get a sandwich. Just ask them for like 5 hash brown patties. Is that? Probably not.
Can you hand me my water?
Oh, I almost grabbed you an
That's
empty.
Yeah.
Okay. More alcohol. All right. We've got
Hi, Kiki.
a question from Chill Days. Chill Days, Matt, what would your advice be for someone who wants to get better at art but has no art foundation and no idea where to start?
I guess it kind of depends what your current end goal is in mind. Because, like, if you want to get better at drawing, then you should pick up drawing or anything 2D that has a base in drawing, like painting.
Okay.
And it's gonna suck. It's a lot of work to start when you don't have any foundation.
Where does one... I think a good question would be, like, where does one learn art foundations? Is it just a situation where it's like everything else where you just need to go to YouTube and find art tutorials?
I mean, yeah, there's drawing tutorials on YouTube. I started doing one that was called Draw a Box. That was neat, and it was kind of just talking about drawing and the foundations of even that, of drawing lines and getting used to the motion of this is how it feels to draw a straight line, because it's innate in your body when you have practiced it so many times. So it was just trying to get those foundations even before you started drawing objects. And I think the website was drawabox.com. I cannot remember. But it was like a whole, like, course to go through.
Yeah, I mean, drawing a box is triggering to me, but only because I took that drawing class where that's the only thing that we did. But yes,
and then
it
you
is.
Move on
it is
to ellipses, I think.
It is a genuinely helpful thing. Like, drawing boxes sound silly, but it is actually, if you're starting out, it is a good place to start. Ideally, eventually you will draw something other than a box, but...
And I have to say, I have seen multiple people do the Draw a Box website coursework, and watching their progress through that time has been really incredible. So it is work. Like, it's not just... Some people, it's easy. It comes to them, and it's like, oh, you know, they've been drawing forever, and they just draw, and they're good at it. Like, that wasn't me. Yeah. My drawing classes in college were hard. I cried a lot. I had to leave the classroom and cry because I was so frustrated. Because it seemed to come easy to everyone else.
A lot of things are practice.
Yeah.
Just lots and lots of practice. Yeah, drawing was something... I mean, I would not consider myself a traditional artist in any sense of the imagination, but, like, I did get better in college, and that was very difficult. That was really hard. Just, especially... I struggled so much with perspective. Yeah. Like, trying to wrap my mind around the concept of 1-point and 2-point and 3-point perspective was like... Because there's a lot of times when I was in college and I was in a drawing class and I was just thinking, I really just want to be in post-production right now. Like, I'm coming to school to be like a video editor, and I really just want to do that. But I got through it, and I did get better in the process, so it was helpful. We got a question from a Nerdy Salesman TV who asks, what is the most difficult part of your jobs, now or historically? That's interesting. I'm really curious to hear your take.
I mean, historically, with teaching, it was just everything. Who was I talking to about teaching the other day?
Everything.
I was talking to someone about teaching, and it was, you know, a combination of admin, of, oh, it's a test day, all the kids are gone.
Yeah.
Or, oh, half the class is on a field trip, suddenly you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, when there were good days, it was like, oh, this is so good. And then there would be a lot of bad days, and I was like, and then they would pile on me, and it would just be too much. So, like, historically, it was just everything that comes with teaching, and now it's just a lot of the same. Like,
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting that you immediately jumped to your old job, because when I hear historically, I would have assumed like the beginning of Malmex compared to now.
Oh.
But the truth is, for you, I don't think that it's changed.
no.
Like, your last 6 years have been identical,
Yes.
which has its own,
Yeah.
has its own downsides. So what's the most difficult part of your job in the context of the previous 6 years?
Editing. I'm working on my December painting editing now. And it's a slog.
You have never loved that.
No, I have not. Especially the audio. Like mixing music and sound. Hate it.
Well,
Speaking of which, like right now, I'm working on it. Like I said, I don't know what happened to the color on my clips, but they're all really bad.
oh, good.
So
I
you
love
got
that.
something to fix. Yep.
It's always so interesting because, and I've gotten better at what I do. The problem is it makes me a worse person, because what happens is things that I didn't know this before, I know this, and now it takes up more of my time, and I can't shut that part of my brain off. It's gone. I can't go back. So what'll happen is I'll sit down at Mal's computer, and I will like listen to something, and I can hear sounds that I couldn't hear before. And I know that sounds really stupid, but you just kind of have to trust me on that. Like, I can hear tones. They all stand out to me now in a way that they never used to, because as I've gotten better and better at editing, like now I've gotten to the point like color changes and things like that, they bother the crap out of me, and I have to do things and fix them. And like I can hear electrical hum, and I'm getting to the point where like I know where in the frequency range it is, and I'm like, oh, this sounds like it's here. And then I'm like sweeping it to try and figure it out, and I'm cutting all this crap out. So like this is stuff that it makes life worse. But I do it because it makes the product better, and it's a subconscious thing. Anyway, what was the question?
What's the most difficult part of your job?
Yeah, I guess I should talk about my job, not yours. So historically, I have worked too much, and I have made huge strides in, the past few years, but really in 2022. That's been, actually, I would say that's been single-handedly the best part of 2022 for me. Aside from the fact that we moved to a place that is a good move, and we're near friends, and that's been huge. Like, the drop in the amount of work that I've done has changed my entire life. I talked about it a little bit before, but there was one part of my job that I gave up. I gave to Dan. And it's not that it even takes me that much time, but the mental energy of it is huge, and it was scheduling. And like, I did not realize that it would change my life. It changed my life overnight. Because Dan was already editing the Stephen Plays videos, but then he would send the completed ones to me, and then I would schedule them. And then at some point, probably Chaz was like, why don't you just let Dan upload them? He's already made the videos, just give him the keys and let him upload the stuff.
Something I said years ago.
Probably, yeah, you and probably other people. So I finally did that, and overnight my entire life changed. I was like, oh, and it doesn't even take that much time. Maybe an extra hour a week, I think. And like, that's all the time that it took, but without that on my shoulders, it changed everything. And it's so wild to be like, oh, that's it. That's all, and I felt so much better. So historically, my problem has been working too much. And like the difficult part was like, you're doing 60 to 80 plus hours a week, and you don't have a social life, and then you go on a trip, and then you're behind, and like, so like nowadays it's almost flipped in a way. Like, as of just the past few months, I have engaged in a social life in a way that I've never had, And as a result, I haven't been able to keep things caught up like as perfectly as I have done before. Like the vlogs are still a little bit behind, and a lot of it has had to do with me just doing some like social activities, and I am okay with that. And I think it's been hard to like come to terms with that, but I do. Becca says you're human again. I feel human again because I lived under constant stress for like a decade, and I finally am now to the point where I'm like, nope. I'm being very selective about the things I do. I let go of some projects that were a big deal to me. I finished some stuff that took a long time, but then also like I let go of Morning Mario, and I let go of Grandpa's Game Garage, and I've cut back on this, and like these are things that, you know, really I think defined me, but they were also adding so much time and stress. And as I let them go, everything in my life has started to get better. So that's why I'm really reluctant about like whenever it's time to like start something new. I'm like super careful now because I'm like, no. I've stepped out of some things to the point where I feel like a person for the first time in a long time. And this is a good place to do it because I'm in a new place and I'm with my friends, and like I want to stay a person. So I'm trying to be real careful, and I'm catching up on vlogs. Like it's getting there, it'll happen, and I'll get 2018 done. Like I know it'll happen, but I'm trying to stay a person as long as I can. Yeah. Ooh, that's good. Shai says the things that defined you and the things that confined you. That's good. Anyway, and the cool thing is, as I clear that question, we're going to move on. The cool thing is, we're still planning things.
Yeah.
We still have cool ideas. And it's just a matter of like tweaking things, being like, okay, well let's, you know, can we make time for this thing? Well, let's take this and like pull this down a little bit so we can add this or do this. And we're just being real careful about how we do it, while still coming up with new ideas and new creative endeavors. Yeah. And Mal's patrons know because she just released a video. Like Mal's got cool stuff coming next year, and I'm excited for her. And like, it's trying to do things in a way that is healthy, something I have historically been bad at, but now I'm doing okay. Anyway,
I like Storm's question.
Sure, yeah. This is from Storms002. It says, if you were building a house from the ground up and had an unlimited budget, what 3 things/features would you want in it? Mal wants to answer this question, so go for it.
I want to have a greenhouse or like a screened-in room.
Like a sunroom.
Maybe like a Four Seasons room where you can like put glass in the winter, so it is a greenhouse, but in the rest of the time it could be a screened-in.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's like one thing I really want. I would love to have like a full Japanese bath with a nice huge bathtub. Because like even now we have this huge bathtub, but it's so wide. I'm not that wide.
The other problem with bathtub...
I need it to be deeper so I can like get in it.
They do make bathtubs very, very large. Sometimes it feels like maybe they're making the bathtub like for 2 people.
That's not big enough for 2.
But it's not big enough for 2 people.
Because it's oval.
It's also not big enough for me.
No, it's not.
I've had one bath here. I was like, yeah, I'll get a bath, and I got in the bath, and it's like, it's not Steven's size bath. Okay.
No.
They made it nice and round, and I'm like, that's cool. If you could actually made it like a long.
Or even if I could sit like fine. Crisscross, but it was deep enough to get to like my neck, that would be great.
The thing that I am trying to, that I want is like a jacuzzi, like a hot tub.
Kimikawa also says make it a wet room, like so the whole thing can be wet. Yeah, like the walls and stuff.
Yeah, like where the place we stayed in Japan had that.
Yeah.
You just spray anywhere you want.
The shower tub room.
You want to spray you spray it. Just spray on the wall, spray on the ceiling. You just spray. Anytime you want.
What's our 3rd feature?
What do you mean our? You're doing yours. Okay. I haven't spoken. What's your 3rd feature?
I don't know.
Oh my god. So the thing...
I want a useful kitchen. Like, yeah, a pretty kitchen is nice. We have a pretty kitchen here. But I want a useful kitchen. Stainless steel counters that I don't have to worry about staining the white granite. Or I can... Like, if I have a butcher block island, I can, like, literally sand it down and refinish it. A drain on the floor so I can, like, literally mop and then push all the water in the drain. That would be so good.
Yeah, okay. So the only thing that I'm super interested in, which is it might be simplifying this by, like, a lot, is... I mean, like, space.
Yeah.
It would be. I mean, I come from the beach where there are no basements because we're too close to to sea level. It would be interesting to have a place with a big basement where I could put games, because game collecting has always been a big thing, and we continue to do it, and like. Yeah, and I hate to even say this, but, like, it's kind of true, so I'm saying it, like, we are pushing the limits of the space that we have already. We have 9 bookshelves that have games on them. Most of those bookshelves are double stacked, and they're full. So, despite the fact that we've only been here 6 months, like, we are... already running out of room for things. So, like, what will...
And we are above the fall line in Raleigh, so, like, a walkout basement would be definitely possible. Like, there's houses I know of nearby that have walkouts.
So, like, that part is sort of, unfortunate.
Yeah.
And that would be my single biggest thing, is, like, having maybe a bigger space. Like, this... I do want to clarify, this has been great.
Yeah.
Having this much room where we can put 4 people on a couch and, like, we have 2 microphones. Oh my god. Like, there's so much more room here than there was at the last place, and that's been great. And I don't really feel like I need a ton more room to do this sort of thing. It's just the actual storage part of trying to hold everything is quite difficult, so... That's, like, my big thing. I'm trying to think of, like, other things in a house that I would, like, care about, and I'm not sure that
Phantom SVT says fully mobile library stacks.
Oh!
Do you know what those are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, it seems
the
expensive.
back of Player's Choice has some of those.
They do, and they're really cool. I don't know. We're talking about the unlimited budget. This is a thing that I think would be cool to own, but I would never actually want it, and that is a hot tub. I think having a hot tub is really cool, but I wouldn't want one. Like, if it existed and it costs no money and I had to do no maintenance and there was no cost for that maintenance, like, that would be neat, but otherwise I have no interest in it. Because I like the concept of getting into a hot tub and being like, I'm chilling in a hot tub. And then it's no more. I want a hot tub as a gift. And then also, part of that gift
is they take care of it for
is
you.
Continued maintenance for the rest of my life. Chaz says he wants his best friend who lives next door to have a hot tub. Yes.
I mean, if we have an unlimited budget, we'll just buy a ton of land and start putting houses on it.
Yes.
And then one of our friends can have a hot tub.
So that's the thing, like, Storms is asking what 3 things you would want, and I'm like, well, there's this thing, but not really. Not really. And I don't have a third thing. Hot tub video games. I don't know what else you need, man. I want to chill in the hot tub, play my Game Boy. I don't know. Is there other things? There is. Should I even mention this? This seems silly.
Steven also hates yard work, so he doesn't want to deal with yard work.
No, that's actually that's the most important thing. I would love to have a yard that's just paved. Just concrete yard. Concrete all the way down. I don't care about grass. I don't care about vegetation. That has no interest to me.
Chaz agrees.
Absolutely. Like, grass is awful and I don't want it at all. Just completely pave the whole thing. In fact, why do you even need a yard? Just put the house out there.
To your lot line?
I mean, it doesn't have to be to the lot line, but it can go for. You don't even need it. Just instead of where the yard would go, have like a planter. That's it.
So one of our neighbors...
I could care less about a yard. Do not want it, do not need it. I would like it. A planter would be fine. I don't want a yard where I gotta have to worry about the grass growing, but a planter, we could plant vegetables, tomatoes again.
That's what I want to do. That's what I'm
That
trying
would
to
be
say.
fun.
I want to have all of these raised garden beds in the backyard, and anywhere that's not garden beds, because it's only going to be a walking space big enough for like a wheelbarrow
Yeah.
to be like gravel and paver stones.
Yeah.
To like go through and water and pick vegetables. And
Yeah.
then maybe a space for like a fire pit so we can like all sit out there and hang out.
Yeah.
Like a cabana.
Yeah,
maybe.
the thing that sucks is that, you know, you get stuck in most places you have an HOA that they're going to be like, what? You have to have grass. And I rebel against that idea so much. I also, so like out in Tucson, they also do like dirt, sand.
Yeah, it's
whatever,
a desert.
Because it's a desert, right? Part of the natural environment there. But like that's also all right. That's not my favorite. I would rather just concrete. But that would also be fun. With maybe like one
tree.
I was going to say what's the stupid plant called? Reverend Horton Heat does the entire song about it. Saguaro. Saguaro. Anyway, that was a long answer to that question. Did we answer that?
Yeah, we did.
I went around in circles for a while, but yes, the yard is by far, I don't want a yard. I don't care. I don't ever go out there and just put a fire pit and vegetables in the back and I'm upset. Anyway, we got one from Brett GB who says, "How has Kepler taken to the new place?"
He's good, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you good?
Like one day.
Boop, boop, boop.
Your head
Kep-
is off screen.
Kep was here one day, 24 hours, and was like totally cool.
Yeah.
And it really blew my mind. Because it was
such a traumatic
It was
drive.
traumatic getting him here. And then once he was here, he was like, it's good.
Yeah.
It's totally
He
good.
found his way around just fine, and it's quiet, so like it's not like there's a dog next door that's barking all the time and freaking him out because he's never had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squid asked a fun question. What's your favorite restaurant in Raleigh so far? I'm curious what your answer for this would be too, because I actually...
It's so hard.
It's hard.
Maybe the farmer's market restaurant.
It's certainly a unique one.
Yeah.
Where you get all that food.
Yeah.
Excuse me. BB Bop,
Oh, I was
It's
thinking
good.
Beeb on Me.
but also Beeb on Me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'll tell you a place that we've only been once so far, and I have a feeling that it would become something really incredible.
Okay.
Skewer place.
Oh yeah, that place.
The Turkish...
I know where it is.
I don't remember what it's called. It has skewer like in the... it's just like... This is a
Give me a
place that
second.
has the skewers.
I know where it is on the map.
It's a Turkish place that do skewers, and like... We've only been in there one time, and I was...
Kebab Skewer.
Kebab Skewer. It's a pretty straightforward name. Just went in there. We didn't even eat a whole lot, but I ate chicken kebab, and I was like, chicken can taste this way?
It was
what
so good.
on earth? So I definitely want to go back there, because and it was very super reasonable, and it was really, really good. And that's a place where I'm like, I bet that could be a place that like I say.
There's a lot of
is my
things
favorite.
that we have seen, and we're like, oh, this place, like, let's try this.
Yeah.
Like, we almost went somewhere yesterday that was new, and it was busy, and we're like, oh, let's go somewhere else.
There's a lot to try.
Yeah.
That's kind of been one of my that's kind of been one of my favorite things about living here. I mean, my favorite thing is absolutely being around friends, and then second to that, I would say the availability,
sheer variety of
food. Like, we live in an actual capital C city, and
Yeah.
like there's like things here, and I'm like, oh my god,
A
things.
kebab place, like,
Yeah.
multiple...
food, going to food with friends.
Yes.
Like it's a whole, I like
And Brandon
that.
says, we don't even know Durham or Chapel Hill. I haven't even been to Chapel Hill yet.
And
There's
Raleigh
so
itself
much.
is absolutely huge too. So there's a lot to explore just in Raleigh, let alone Durham and Chapel Hill. So there's just so much food. And that's been very exciting. Especially, and I've talked about this before, the chain restaurants have gotten so expensive. A lot of the smaller places are not. And that's really cool because those are the places I would rather eat anyway. So you end up going to a place that you've never heard of. It's a local place. There's only one of them. And it's extremely reasonable. And then you go to the Olive Garden and it's $23. Anyway, here's one from Diddy Eggs who says, now that I've finished college at Clemson, I reflect and have varying thoughts on them. What about both of you guys reflecting on college from years ago? So the first thing we got to do is figure out how long ago it was. So we got into college at 2006 and 7, and we both graduated in 2011. So we've been out of school now for 11 years. I don't miss it.
I miss parts of it.
I don't miss it. I don't. You know what parts I miss?
Friends. Hanging out with friends.
Yeah, and guess what? They live here. I miss Taylor.
Yeah.
I miss Nick.
Yeah.
I miss Ian.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Like the other people I spent all my time with was...
Oh, Hayley says I miss Mal being my roommate.
And you kind of, well, you don't have that back exactly, but like you're as close as you've ever been to having that experience back. And that's how that's how I feel too. It's like the things that were best about college for me were, my friends.
Yeah.
And Alex and Dan live here. So I kind of got that figured out. And we're actually not super, super far from Nick.
No.
So at some point we'll probably get up with Nick because he's not terribly, terribly far from here. So, I don't miss.
We were just
college.
reminiscing about how cold it was when it was cold the other week, and how the dorm was not prepared to deal with that, and how it was very cold.
Yeah, I don't know. I think college was a important time in my life, a transformative time in my life. I feel like
it was way more enjoyable than high school.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, having completed it and having, I did it. I got the paper that says I did it. I'm like, okay, bye. See you later. I was very excited to get started on life. And like some people want to do further education, they want to go for a master's or whatever, and that's great. I was not that person. And then inversely, some folks finish high school and they're like, I don't want to do college, and that's also fine.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you that's not fine. Don't let them do that. Anyways, was that the question? Was it just me going, I don't miss that?
Chaz says, for me, college was better than high school. Real adulting has been better than college.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Steven had cookies for dinner. No one stopped him. I thought about stopping him, but I figured...
I didn't have cookies for
adult.
dinner. I had tiny cheese. And like a nut.
I gave you a single segment of orange.
Yes. It's like, so the downside of real adulthood is that there are responsibilities, and some of them suck.
Yeah.
Some of the responsibilities suck. There's also an entire element, especially depending on what country you live in, of heavy things that can just happen, and then depending on what the circumstances is, you are stuck with bills. So like, there's elements of adulthood that are bad, but that being said, I would still rather be in that part of life that is real adulthood. Still prefer that. Still would rather do that. I know some people reminisce very strongly about childhood, and like I had a very good childhood. I loved being a kid and growing up and all of that, but like it does not in any way, shape, or form compare to like adulthood. Adulthood, great. Cookies for dinner. cookies for dinner. Midnight says, Steven, is there a particular game/subject you want to see Mal paint? And likewise for Mal, a series/movie you want Steven to watch? So I get my wish to see Mal paint stuff all the time.
Yeah.
The painting that Mal is releasing tomorrow was my idea. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be so bold as to say half of your paintings were my idea, but I bet they were.
Yeah, you're like, what about this? And then sometimes I take that and change it, and sometimes I change it a little bit.
I heavily influence Mal makes, and it's because I also, like Mal, have a wide video game experience, so I can think of, like, that would be interesting, this would be interesting, and then let Mal put the spin on it. So, like, I don't feel that I feel like I already do that.
Yeah.
You know, I come up with ideas and stuff for Mal all the time, and it's fun, honestly. It's actually genuinely fun. Because imagine how exciting it would be if you're like, I have this idea for Mal Makes, and oh my god, she painted my idea. Okay, now imagine that you did that like 60 times. And it's fun as you would think it is, because it's fun to see what Mal's going to do. Is there things that you want me to watch? I'm sure there is.
I mean, there's things that I think that would be interesting for you to watch. I've been very slowly watching through Early Edition.
Yeah. And... Oh, you've always... Yeah, Chaz, that happened like twice for me, and that was exciting enough. Chaz submitted ideas that Mal did for painting. You've always wanted me to watch The Pretender.
The Pretender, which was my favorite show forever, and I don't know.
You wanted me to watch Lord of the Rings, and I did.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lunar Pearl wanted me to watch Lord of the Rings.
And you did.
And I did. And I did. Yeah, and, you know.
I mean, there's things I want to watch. We may get to them, or I just may watch them myself.
Well, you also, you kind of have to weigh that.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's things that you want me to watch and you are patient and you're like, we'll get around to this. And then there's other things where you either you definitely want to watch it, or you often are like, Steven won't like this.
Or we won't get to it, so I should just watch it.
Also, my movie list for like the things that I want to watch are very different.
Yes.
Than Mal's. So
yeah.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Jay Linebeck asks, how do you feel about your early vlogs compared to the ones of recent times? I appreciate their existence, I think, is like a piece of history. I mean, I like the concept of archiving, and I think it's fun to be able to be like, because there's no one else can be like, what was I doing 12 years ago? And then there's a video of what you were doing 12 years ago, which, you know, depending on who you are, might be a terrifying thing. But for me, it's that sort of thing's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I like that. As far as like how I feel about them now, like compared to now, I think it's interesting that, you know, I clearly have gotten better at every individual aspect of it, right? Like everything surrounding like pacing and composition and all of the little minutia related to like color and sound and things like that. Like I care about those sorts of things, but the feel of them is the exact same. They're more entertaining now because I am better at entertaining and public speaking and things like that. So like they flow better, but if you spend a little time watching recent vlogs and you spend a little time watching old vlogs, you'll be like, man, these really haven't changed all that much. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a fun like consistency. Kind of like that. So, but you know, they're good now. I will say one thing though, and this is something that's kind of from like the past 6 months. I'm really looking forward to being caught up, not only in vlogs and stuff, but then also having a better handle on like everything going on in personal life, as far as, we're now finally moved in and we're getting things unpacked and the inertia of moving is ending. Because vlogs typically get a little more complex when I do that. They get more fun. And I feel when I'm caught up and I only have that thing to really focus on, I feel like I can play with things more. And that is something I miss. Similarly, I was doing a lot of short form vertical content, like TikTok stuff in the first half of the year before we moved. And that was fun. I really enjoyed that. And then we moved, and then everything was like, oh my God. And I haven't really gotten back to that in a big way. And I'd like to be able to do some of that next year too. So I want to keep making, like the Sonic MRI machine. God, it's so good. God, it's so good. I mean, not everyone really gets that humor, but I do, and it's good. So like that's the sort of thing that I want to be able to create more real stupid nonsense. Put her there, son. Put her there. Oh my God. Oh, I should have scrolled down and not
You
up.
should have scrolled down. Scroll down.
Let me scroll down. Hold on. Here. Sure. For Zato. Boneless chicken or chicken on the bone?
Boneless.
Boneless.
I'm one of those people who gets easily grossed out by things, and bone-in chicken grosses me out. I have a hard time. When we first got married, the first year we were married, I made a whole chicken in the slow cooker or something, and when I had to pick up that whole thing, I had never done that before, and it freaked me out. The way it felt, the way it moved. And like fried chicken, can't. Steven can like clean the bone, can't do it. Nope.
So I'm going to take you can take Zato's question in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to take it very specifically. You have gone to a restaurant to order chicken wings, and you are choosing between traditional chicken wings that are bone-in or boneless chicken wings. And in that environment, I would choose boneless wings. And the reason is...
You don't like to get your hands dirty.
I really don't like to get my hands dirty. Mm-hmm. If I can eat a food with a fork, I will choose to do so. There is... we're about to get into some weird Steven stuff. Hold on to your butt. There is a tiny asterisk here. And that is... And it's... Yeah. There's a tiny asterisk here. When it comes to fried chicken, and I know you're going to be like, wait, what the hell is the difference? Just hold on for a second. When it comes to fried chicken, I will not use a fork and a knife. And on the occasions that I have had to use a fork and a knife for fried chicken, I die inside. Some of you have to... It's going to be hard for some of you. Others are getting it. Okay, there is a difference. Just follow me here. There is a difference between fried chicken, like I'm going to the KFC, I'm getting the fried chicken, and I'm going to the bar and I'm ordering chicken wings. If I go to the bar, I'm going to get the chicken wings, and they have boneless chicken wings, I'm going to go that route, because then I can just sit there and chill and use a fork, and I'm good. If I'm going to, and I don't, it's true, I don't really want to get my fingers all messy. However, if I'm going to eat fried chicken, I want to use my hands. I will clean the bone, no problems with that, but I want to use my hands. And trying to use a fork and a knife to eat a chicken leg hurts so bad. There are times where I've been in social environments where it is not acceptable for the Southern boy to use his hands to eat the chicken. And so he is served a fork and a knife, and he looks at it, and he doesn't really want to use it, because the truth is, I will do it even for other types of chicken. A rotisserie chicken, I was born in the Dixie Stampede. I used my hands to eat rotisserie chicken, and there's been many times in the past where I've been stuck in a social situation around people who are not from the Southeast.
I suddenly want alpacas.
And they give you the chicken, and everything in my body is like, pick up the chicken. but everyone picks up their forks and knives like crazy people. And then I have to sit there and like, how does one do this? And I'm trying to like get the meat off, and there's meat that is still stuck to the bone that you can't really truly get off unless you pick it up and put it into your godforsaken mouth. I'm just saying I've had a lot of trauma related to chicken in the Midwest. That's all I'm saying. Actually, the very first meal that I ever ate with your lovely mother was chicken, and I'm looking at this chicken.
It was very dry too.
And I was like, I gotta use like a fork and a knife. Okay, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
Was that the time where that we were under an active tornado warning and we were still sitting there and we put you with your back to the patio door so we could all watch for the funnel cloud and we just ate dinner?
Yes.
That was okay. That was that time.
Yeah. The
was a good time.
tornado sirens were going off, and I was like, couldn't.
I've never heard
help
this noise
but
before.
Notice there's this siren going off, and do we need to go to the basement? And everyone's like, no, just eat your chicken with your fork and your knife. Anyway,
They go off.
I don't know if Zato was expecting that answer, but there's a very complicated answer.
It wasn't even it was like an actual storm happening. Like it wasn't a scheduled test. In the South, like here, they don't have tornado sirens. That was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Chess says you don't have to worry about them if you're not actually in the red shape. They go off for the whole county. It's fine. Yeah. And when that happened, where I lived was at the very edge of the county. So, Brandon says, wait, do we not have them in North? No, we do not have them.
You don't need them.
I would have heard them by now.
What will they do for tornadoes? Your phone beep.
Yeah, your phone beep.
It's 2022. Not for long. Your phone beep. I mean, I have all of those turned off. I have every single beep turned off. The first thing I do when I get the phone is I go, oh, no beeping. Yeah. It's because I stream, and and before I streamed, I recorded videos. Yeah, oh, so you'll die, but I'll be fine. Yeah. I think Mal's beeps. Do you
Mine
have your
beeps.
beeps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as long as I'm around Mal, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. From Bloop64, is there a specific skill or subject you would like to improve on in 2023 and or the future in general?
I mean, 2023, my theme is relationships.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a notable thing.
Yeah.
The idea of being able to be closer to people.
Yeah.
Working on
I was thinking
improving
friendship,
those things.
but I was like, well, that
can-
works. But like, if
you
I
can-
broaden that just a little to relationships, like
Yeah.
maybe I try talking to Carly more, even though we talk a lot.
Yeah, because there are so many different dynamics.
Yes.
To relationships, because there are friendships and there are romantic relationships, but there's also so many other little things, like a sibling relationship is unique, and being able to spend time with siblings. I mean, I don't know what that's like, but the people that do
You
can
spend time with your sister-in-law and brother-in-law.
I mean, I can, and that
Will
is
be.
something. Yeah, I will be doing that next year for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I'm trying to think. I want to say, and I'm always scared to talk about this because it's such a loaded thing of like, yeah, but will you actually do it? I would really like to hang up the guitar again. Every year, I get asked about like stuff for New Year's or whatever, and it's always like related to music, always. So you can tell that it's in me, and it never really goes away. And that's like the big thing is I'd really like to hang the guitar up and pick it up every single day and try to make something. And there is something a little different about this year, and again, I don't know if I'll carry through because you don't know what will happen. But Mal got me this thing, and I was reluctant, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I have, as of right now, I have exercised for 30 minutes every single day for 28 days straight. And I'm like, if I can do that, if I can
spend 30 minutes
if
doing
I
that.
can make the time to do that and form a habit, then like if I try hard enough, I can do it. I can pick up the guitar and get back into it, because I played the guitar a lot for many years and then stopped, and I would really love to get back into that. And I know I say that every year, but I'm hoping this year will be a little different, because I've proven to myself that I can still learn new tricks. I learned to exercise every day, and I've kept up with it. And it's been hard. There's been days where like I've been busy in the past 28 days. There's been days where I've been busy and it's 11 p.m. and I need 25 minutes of exercise and I haven't done it. And that is the breaking point of where I can go, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Or I can put on my shoes and go out into 25 degree weather and walk for 25 minutes. And that has been what I have chosen every single time. So maybe I could play the guitar also. It'd be fun to get back into it. It would be fun. I would like that. Okay, let's do like what, just a small amount more, because it's like 11, and then we have to fake do the ball drop. We have to fake the ball drop. I'm trying to. This is a fun one. I think this is fun. This is from Swift for Sweeper. It says, "What's the creative process behind the creation of characters like Tiny Eddie and Raddd?" Tiny Eddie is you can actually kind of tell if you watch some of the breakfast streams leading up to it. We had been talking a lot about Little Debbie.
Yeah.
There had been like some Little Debbie cereals that we had gotten, and they had like crazy fun facts on the back of them, and we spent a good portion of some of the streams like reading them and having fun with that. And from there, I don't really know how it evolved, other than I talked to Chad. like Tiny Eddie was my idea, but I don't really know how we made the leap from the back of the Little Debbie box. Chad says you bought a hat. That was it. I bought a hat, and I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do with this hat? And then you'd make a character. Yeah, it's kind of hard to outline exactly how that sort of thing occurs, other than because like it's the creative process of like coming up with the idea for the alerts, right?
Yeah,
and that was
there was no sit down and like we need to come up with a thing.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, Little Debbie, that's funny. It'd be funny if we could like generate random snack cakes.
Yeah.
And then it was like Chaz was like, well,
Chaz
try
was
this
like,
thing.
well, you can
and then
do
Steven's
that. We
like,
could do that.
okay, I'm gonna buy a hat, and then it existed.
Yeah. And then Raddd was, kind of a similar thing.
Yeah.
It was just that came out of the idea for the alert, because the Tiny Eddie was built out of the idea of like this is a funny thing.
Yeah.
Raddd came from the idea that I liked the idea of the Tiny Eddie alerts, but I really wanted to do something video game related, because that is so much of what we do. Breakfast stream is about food.
Yeah.
So making Tiny Eddie exist and have it be about food makes a lot of sense. And then the other thing that we do on Twitch is video games, and so having a video game related thing made a lot of sense. So yeah, and I love both of them so much. I would say that the favorite alert of the community on the whole is probably Tiny Eddie. People love doing Tiny Eddie and getting a chance to see what's going to come up, and then the discussion and thinking about foods and the relation of foods together that you would never have considered. Sometimes you do get like koala poison, but other times you get things that they kind of make you think. They kind of make you go, well, actually, maybe that would work. And that's fun. That's a fun thing. I really like that. Let's do... Sure. We'll do this one, and then we'll do a final question. So this is from Zimmy's Waffles. It says, I've seen plenty of other people try to do the daily vlog thing. Most of them end up dropping it after a while. What has kept you so dedicated to your work for the past 13 years and counting? A habitual nature. Stubbornness. It's a good one. I don't know. Discipline is the... So, like, folks in chat, discipline and stubbornness. Like, they're... Spite? Discipline is the good word, right?
Yeah.
Discipline is the good word. And that is something that I have always been pretty good at, is discipline. And I don't know what specifically. I remember when I was young, when I was very, very young, I took karate for a few years. And karate, they teach you how to fight or whatever, but like a lot of what karate was is discipline, and it was something that I excelled at even when I was really, really young. And I remember the instructors telling my parents, they're like, Steven is really disciplined. Like, Steven, if it's like, this is the thing you need to do, then like, that's it. There's no talking about, it's just like, okay. And like, I did that from the time that I was really young. And I think that mentality, it's not that karate is what did that to me, but like karate was, I guess, kind of a thing that showed my parents like, yeah, this is kind of how he is. If I decide I'm going to do something, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you get stuck doing a vlog for 13 years or 1,400 episodes of Morning Mario or 2,000 memorable moments or whatever. It's, it is, I think, in a sense, it is who I am as a person. It wouldn't matter if it was a vlog or not. It's just who I am. So, like, that's why when we started doing streaming, it was like, okay, we're going to do breakfast stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, we won't miss them.
Yeah.
Like, we missed one when Sagan died, which was understandable. But otherwise, we haven't missed any. And it's a part of like who I am as a person. That I don't really know how better to answer the question, because I think sometimes what people want is they want to know if there's like some sort of secret to like keeping up a project, and I don't think that there is.
That's just you.
It's like a nature thing, and I have the particular nature that allows me to keep doing a thing forever. There's downsides to that, because sometimes if something is not working and you shouldn't be doing it, you'll just keep doing it. Because it's like, I can do a habit. But mostly it's worked out all right. Mostly. That's why I want to pick up the guitar. If I pick up the guitar and I can get myself to play it every day, then it might become a thing. It might become a thing. Okay, let's wrap with one more question. And this is from Princess Monado 23, who asks, what advice do 2022 Stephen and Mao have for 2023 Stephen and Mao? Record a message for your future selves. I think this is a great final question. It's a great one. What do you have to say to your future self?
You start. I can't.
Here's what I think we should start with. Mm-hmm. How are we feeling as we come to the end of 2022? And 2022 has been it's been a difficult year. It very specifically had some difficult times.
Yes.
It's been a very transformative year. It has been a year of change in a way that we didn't even expect in January. I mean, so much has changed in our lives. So having reached the end of it, how are you feeling? Because my gut reaction, and it feels so good for this to be the gut reaction. Because this is beating out the word stress. And it's happiness.
Yeah.
You cut that off so quickly. You're like, yeah.
I know, I agree. I'm pulling up my list of thoughts that I had.
Okay, well, I'm going to elaborate more because it was sincere, wholesome thing I was saying, and you're like, yeah.
You do it.
I feel happy. And it's not that I haven't been happy.
Yeah.
It's just that for the first time in probably a long time, that is the loudest voice. Because I have suffered from dealing with a lot of stress and always being under like, this, that. And that's not the thing that is loud anymore. The thing that is loud is contentment, happiness, love. Like, there's all of these different good feelings that are louder than the other things. And I don't want to paint like a bad picture of the past, but I think this is the first year in my adult life that I have ever had that. I almost cried saying that. Like, again, it's not that my years in the past have been bad. They haven't, but they have been so marred by difficulty and stress, and that has sucked. I've been an adult for a long time.
Yeah, your grandpa.
Like 100 years. Like, you know, I've been out of college. I guess you're an adult when you go into college. I've been an adult for like 15, 16 years, and like in my entire adult life. Like, this has been the time. This is like the first end of year where I'm like, I'm feeling really good. I feel like I have a better handle on things in my life than I have in a long time. I feel like for the first time I've stepped away from things in a reasonable manner where it's not like I'm just like, I gotta deal with this. No, I'm just like, it's okay. Things are okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right this second. And that is just amazing. It's amazing.
And I've been very happy for you about that. Because I have seen you for the last forever. And yeah.
I mean, it's been a year of transformation, but especially just in the past few months. I mean, things are okay. Things are okay, and they're not perfect, but it feels manageable in a way that past years have not felt terribly manageable. Where, you know, I'm just like, oh God, how am I going to do this? And how am I going to do this? It's like, it's okay. So how do you feel?
Well, I started taking notes a month ago when I was trying to come up with my theme of relationships.
Yeah.
And, like, the past year, like, I feel like I've done a lot better about my health, and post-surgery has made that easier than I think I would have ever imagined.
Yeah.
Because of being able to move and not be in pain and taking ibuprofen every single day of my life. So, like, that's been great, and I want to continue doing that.
Yeah.
And, like, I want to, like, work on making art for fun, and, like, I feel better about, because I'm able to do more, like, keeping up with other things in my life, and I'm looking forward to being able to do more of that.
You have a lot, I mean, and this is something that you've also been thinking about, because, I talked about it earlier with Mal. Mal has changes coming next year in relation to the things that she's done, or is, you know, planning to do. So, like, you've already been giving this quite a bit of thought.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I talked about how I feel now. My message for my future self. What would be your message for your future self?
I don't know. Hope it was good.
Hope it was good. Was it good for you? It's good for me, thanks. I mean, my message to my future self, based on how I'm feeling now, having gotten to a point where, like, things aren't perfect. There's a lot of little things I want to try. Like from a creative standpoint, from a project standpoint. I would say continue to walk with caution. That's what I've done this year. I pulled back from doing certain things. I did less, and I've worked very hard to work smarter, not harder, right? And to try and be careful about, like, the projects I do and how much time I'm investing in them, and try to do things that make more sense instead of just do more. Mm-hmm. And because I have achieved a point where I'm doing pretty good right now, my advice to my future self would be, like, keep that up. Because I know me. And there's going to be something where I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea.
What if I do this?
What if I commit to that for 3 years? So I do need people in my life, and a lot of times that is Mal, Chaz, to kind of like, take the reins a little bit. And I need to just make sure that I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
I need to pay attention to make sure that when those people are there and they're like, hey, before you jump into this, because your personality type is you will do this forever. Like, before you do it, think about it. Think long term. Is this sustainable? You don't want to go back to the point where the stress was higher than the happy. There's going to be times in your life where that's just how it is. That is what life is. No one can live a stress-free life. That is not what human nature is. You're going to experience stress. But on the whole, if you can live a life where on the whole, the stress is a little bit lower, that's good. Get the spikes of stress every once in a while. That's just part of humanity. But like, if you can make it where you're not constantly living under the stress, it took me 15 years, but I'm there. So I just want to be very careful. Anyway, for you, do you have anything to say to your next year self?
No.
You really? Okay. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, the things that I tell myself aren't obviously going to work for like everyone.
Yeah.
And that's because I am me, and you are you, and we're all different people, and how we think is different, and how we work through things are different. And one of the advantages of getting older and getting further into adulthood and learning about yourself is when you get to know yourself a little bit better, you kind of know what works and what doesn't for you. And having really close friends and people in relationships that also can tell you that is helpful. Because sometimes Mal will be like, this is how you are, so you should not do this thing.
Yeah.
And that is helpful. I can be like, that sounds correct. And I can do the same thing for Mal. So, yeah. I'm excited about next year.
Me too.
I cautiously walk into the future with a head full of fun ideas, but also acknowledging the fact that I am happy. I'm more happy than stressed right now. It won't always be like that, but it is right now, and I want to try and achieve that for as long as I can. Okay. That concludes the questions and answers part.
We're going to tally up your scores.
We're going to tally up your scores.